Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Nick Tan Chats. My name is Nick Tan, and on today's episode, I'll be chatting with you guys about a PDF from Nestor D. This is something that he calls a taxonomy of Q&A. So hi again guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for showing up, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for spending some time with me today. So on today's episode, I'll be chatting with you about a release, a PDF from a French mentalist whose name is Nestor D. Okay, and Nestor got in touch with me and asked, if I would be interested to have a look at some of the items that are available on his website, and I immediately said yes, right, because it's all just mentalism related. So Nestor sent this PDF over to me, a taxonomy of Q&A, and I really quickly just, devoured it in one sitting. Now, if you think that this PDF, is yet another method, to perform the Q&A act, well, that's not what this is about at all, okay? So what is a taxonomy of Q&A? Well, this is more of a collection, of the kind of methods that you would use when performing Q&A, and I think it is particularly useful for beginner mentalists who are looking to learn about Q&A, and you've got kind of no idea where to begin, right? So this is kind of like a collection of all the kind of available methods that are out there to perform the Q&A. Now when I say methods, no methods are kind of taught here. They are kind of described, and the sources, okay, are actually given to you, along with the names of the publishers, the creators as well. It kind of outlines all of the available methods, okay, that you have to perform the Q&A. Now, I will tell you really briefly about what the PDF contains, okay, but well, it's going to be a really short kind of a review, I think, because there's really nothing much to say. It's just basically a collection of all the Q&A methods out there, because there's so many, right? And if you are kind of starting out and studying Q&A, there is so-and-so's method, and there is so-and-so's method from that book, and this video and stuff. So information is all over the place, and you're just afraid that you leave out something, right? As a student of mentalism, I understand the need to kind of learn everything there is about something before you start performing it. So this PDF is kind of like a great place, to have all of the really popular sources out there listed over here, all right, for you to go and seek out and for you to study as well. Something interesting as well about this PDF is that, well, this PDF will kind of be updated as well, as and when Nestor feels that there is a something else that is worthy of inclusion into the project. So I hope you guys don't mind, but I will actually use this episode as well to talk a little bit about my journey in Q&A as well. So let me just show you a quick video, all right, about how I currently perform my Q&A act.
Your birthday?
Yes.
Are you a Virgo?
Yes.
Alright, a Virgo born, but not in September like most Virgos. You're born in August, is that right?
Yes.
On the 29th of August, I think.
Correct.
Yes. And I'm seeing something about you moving really quickly. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Are you competitive?
Yes.
Sports person somehow?
Yes, used to be. Yes.
Were you like one of Singapore's best long jumpers?
Yeah.
You were, right? Okay, he's thinking now, well, what was my ranking or something like that, right? Are you like the 6th best?
Yeah.
There we go, give him a nice round of applause, thank you.
Alright, so that is kind of like a little sample of the kind of Q&A that I perform currently. That was from a series of shows that I've been performing here in Singapore. And personally for me, I have been performing Q&A on and off, right? More in recent years, but it's been about 10 years or so, since I started performing the Q&A act. And along the years, the methods and the approaches and the style that I've performed it in have evolved, all right? And I think, Q&A, they're kind of two main kind of approaches to it, right? If you're talking about method, well, there are methods where you perform the work, the work is done before the show, and then there are methods that are performed during the show, and I've used both kinds of methods. I appreciate the benefits of having, done the work before the show begins, but I also kind of enjoy now, I think with more, performance experience under my belt, the kind of really impromptu, on the spot, on your toes kind of thinking, that is required when performing with a real-time method. And of course, there are pros and cons of both kinds of approaches, right? In the past, when I was doing, the work before the show, I had a great way of screening the questions. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean, right? So you can kind of structure the whole routine even before you head onto the stage. So you know for a fact that you have a solid Q&A act that will build, and you can kind of design a closing sequence as well for the routine. But currently I'm using like a real-time method, and it's something that I've come to really enjoy, the feeling of just thinking on my feet, right, and just working with whatever I have, and whatever is presented to me. In recent years as well, in the past like 2 or 3 years, you would have seen me kind of combine my blindfold routine, the blindfold sequence that I perform, along with Q&A, and that is kind of like a conscious choice, because I found that in the environments that I perform in, people don't have really long attention spans. So I kind of looked at my act, and the blindfold sequence and the Q&A both seemed to be the strongest things in the show, and I kind of decided to combine the both of them into one kind of a demonstration, and so far it's been playing really well, and it's one routine that I really enjoy performing. So let's get down to what a taxonomy of Q&A will cover. Okay, so this is a PDF, and it's at like 29 pages or so. He covers the 3 main types of Q&A. Okay, so there is question answering, okay, and there is audience reading and gallery reading as well. Okay, now starting from the third one, right, gallery reading. This is not something that I've performed. Question answering and audience reading, I have done both of these. Right, and question answering obviously is the type of Q&A that you would have audience members ask questions, right, about their life, and it's all open-ended, and you are able to just kind of receive the questions and just give out your answers apparently from some kind of a psychic source. Okay, so that kind of approach I have done from time to time, but usually in theater kind of settings, or ticketed shows where people are more kind of receptive and more open to sitting through that kind of a presentation. So currently I only perform an audience reading kind of a Q&A, similar to like Dunninger, Kreskin, Osterlind, and this kind of Q&A is where you kind of reveal information about the audience, right? Stuff that you couldn't know, important dates, interesting facts about themselves, stuff like that, and this is something that works better for me in the kind of dinner and dance environments that I perform in, because it's more light-hearted, I think. It's more fun, more interesting as well, and I don't think of it as performing like a weaker version of Q&A, because answering questions is a really strong thing, right? And people really care about the answers, but I think of it more of, well, performing appropriately, because in these environments I really do need the material to be that kind of a feel, as opposed to something really, heavy and psychic. And then Nestor goes through 12 core Q&A methods. Okay, and for each of these methods, he does give you the resources, okay, the names of the performers, the publishers who have released, methods and routines that uses, the approach that he's discussing, so there's things like open Q&A. He gives you resources about that kind of Q&A. There is propless Q&A approaches, peak Q&A approaches, the one ahead, or I'll just say it, the one ahead Q&A approaches, blindfolded Q&As, which is something that I really enjoy performing right now, forcing, pre-show, real-time. There is interesting one called perforated, okay, which if you are familiar with some of the work of Osterlind, I think that will make sense to you. He talks about 2-person Q&As, marked Q&As, okay, and usually this is where you are able to kind of actually single out a person in the audience. right, and give a reading for them. And then there is the last one called card Q&As, which involves cartomancy and stuff. Okay, so all of these methods, I have used them, bits of them from time to time, and over the course of the past 10, 12 years of performing Q&A, I have incorporated them into the show, in one way or another. And going through all of the resources, that Nestor has laid out here, I have read most of them. Obviously I haven't read every single thing that is published on Q&A, but whatever he has listed, I kind of have read before. I have on my shelf in my computer somewhere as well. They are all very useful resources. If you can get your hands on all the stuff that he lists, right? John Riggs, Scott Creasy, Richard Webster, all of these guys will provide you really great tools to design your Q&A that you perform. And then in the later section of the book, there is something called additional building blocks. Okay, and this is where, Nestor gives you some ideas about how you can elevate, all right, your Q&A acts, right, with other little bits of techniques, subtleties as well. He talks a bit about pre-show, the informatical principle, okay, which is just gold to me, right? I use it every single time, every show that I do. He talks about sensational answers, okay, stuff like that, marked cards, answering questions, giving readings, universal answers, and also thoughts about integrating other effects into the Q&A as well. And of course, integrating other effects, well, the first name that comes to my mind is Bob Cassidy, all right, who discusses this kind of an approach in his 21st century Q&A, right, where he kind of combines Q&A along with his, fourth dimensional telepathy, which of course, it makes for a really solid mentalism show. It really is a show in itself, and you have that strong closer of the drawing duplication as well. So yeah, that is really what this PDF is all about. So again, if you're looking for like a PDF to teach you a new Q&A method, this is not it, but it really is a collection, all right, all in one place, all right, of all the kind of Q&A methods out there. If you're new to Q&A, all this will be really, educational for you as well, right? To learn about the various kinds of approaches to performing Q&A. And then, if you want to read more about a particular kind of approach, all the resources are there, the names are there, the products are there for you to seek out, and to study, by yourself. But all in, I think this is a great way for someone who is, starting to learn about Q&A, right? Or, if you want to, go about learning and picking up resources, stuff to learn about Q&A. You don't know where to start, right? But this PDF, lists out everything, all the really great ones, really useful ones as well. And it's all just, condensed into one place for you to pick and choose. But yes, I'm really passionate about performing Q&A. I think it really is, the more you perform it, the more you will realize that it really is kind of like the ultimate routine, in a stage mentalism show, and it's something that, I've gotten really fond of. At the start of it, you're going to be afraid, to perform this kind of material. But along the way, I think you will kind of get used to it, and you will love it as well, all right? Once you see the kind of responses and the effect, all right, and how the effect affects people as well. It really is, the kind of image that I have, when I think of a mind reader, right? It's just someone literally just standing on stage and just calling out names and facts about people, answering questions and things like that. So I think it is an effect that, if you are a stage performer, it is something that is worth studying about and trying out as well. Okay, and I think if you do give it a go, you will find that it is something that you will perform for the rest of your life. In doing this video, I just realized that I really do have a lot of thoughts, about performing Q&A as well. So unfortunately, I won't be able to go through all of, what I want to say about Q&A. But I want to thank, people such as Louis Laval, Scott Creasy, Richard Osterlin, Banachek, Luke Jamay, all these guys, right, who have kind of inspired me along the way into creating the kind of Q&A that I perform now. Alright, but that's all for today's episode, guys. So again, if you're looking for, a resource, okay, that will list out all of the really great Q&A, teaching material, then I can suggest that you have a look at A Taxonomy of QA, all right, from Nestor D. This will be available from his website, okay, and I think it's priced at like $10, so I will leave the link, all right, for his website in the description box down below. Alright, but that's all for today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it, got something out of it as well. I know it just feels a bit random, but I will leave you guys, okay, with another short clip, alright, of a Q&A that I performed recently as well for younger audiences, where children, are in the audience as well. So this is just kind of a way to show you, that Q&A is not necessarily just for the serious adult audience. It can also be performed for younger minds. So do enjoy the video, and as always, do look after yourselves, have fun with your magic and your mentalism, and I will see you on the next episode of Nick Tan Chats.
FC, are you there? Just say hello for me. I'm picking up something where you're like programming something. I'm seeing an image of you like programming, and is this like 3D printing? In fact, you enjoy it so much, I'm going to say that you have 2 3D printers at home. Is that right? There we go. Please give him a nice round of applause. Thank you. People don't call you Polly. People call you Dr. Sia. You're a doctor, is that right? Are you okay if I tell people the number? 672 443. Please give him a nice round of applause. Thank you. One last one. Is that Gabriel? There's a number as well. What number is this? Is this a birthday or something or what? It's your house number. Are you okay if I tell the people this number? It's a 213. And Gabriel, you have an interesting hobby as well. I think, well, not maybe a hobby, an interest of some kind. You like to read books about it, see pictures of it. Does that make sense to you? It's an animal of some kind. It's an animal of some kind. I picture something quite cold, and I'm getting a bit scared of this. Is this? Am I right to say that you like snakes? Please give him a nice round of applause. Thank you very much. Okay.